To building the IT infrastructure for Aadhaar and the GST network, Nandan Nilekani could be involved in a new assignment with the government. This time, he could help build the infrastructure necessary to roll out the government's flagship announcement in the budget, the National Health Protection Scheme, or Modi Care, as it has come to be known. Rituparna Bhuyan joins us now with the exclusive details. So, Ritu, Nilekani's resume is only getting longer. What are you picking up in terms of the capacity in which he could contribute to the National Pension Health Scheme?
Well, the National Health Protection Scheme will be backed up by a strong IT infrastructure that links the data on beneficiaries, the National Health Protection Scheme itself, as well as the primary healthcare system. And then you will also have the various insurance-related packages offered by different companies. That will all be part of a very strong IT infrastructure. The government has started, negotiations and talks regarding setting up of that IT infrastructure. And we now understand that the government is taking feedback from Nandan Nilekani. As you rightly said, he has experience in setting up the Aadhaar system, the GSTN system, and this is the experience which the government wants to tap. Mr. Nilekani's experience, which the government wants to tap. Now, in fact, a meeting has already happened regarding this, where Mr. Nilekani, along with the NITI Aayog, as well as Health Ministry officials and NIC officials, met up to basically discuss the initial contours of this IT network. In addition, we also learned that the cabinet note regarding setting up of the NHPS will soon be released, perhaps in a matter of weeks, and final touches are being now given to that.
All right, Ritu, appreciate you joining us with that story. Let's bring in a reaction now. Joining us is Mohandas Pai. Mr. Pai, appreciate you joining us here on the show. As I mentioned, after Aadhaar and after the GSTN, we understand that Nandan Nilekani's help or support could be used now for the National Health Protection Scheme. Your first reaction on that?
Well, this is a very happy thing for India. It's a great thing. Nandan is a transformational person. He has created two of the largest portals in the world, the GSTN network and Aadhaar. And I think his coming in will make sure within 2 or 3 months we'll have it up and running with the best technology minds in India and the world, because he has the experience and ability to design and build large systems. And it's not easy to do that. NIC cannot do that. And if you put out a tender, ginder, binder and all that, it'll never happen in this country. And if you want to see the benefits, it has to happen in the mission mode. And I think it's fantastic, because that means that we are closer to reality to make it happen than ever before. This is very great news for everybody.
That the NITI Aayog is likely to enlist his support in some form or fashion. But let me also ask you about how crucial the IT infrastructure, the IT backend is going to be to ensure that the National Health Protection Scheme in fact works and is viable.
Well, I think it's very important, because the chief enabler without the National Health IT backbone is not going to work. Remember, you have to put 100 million people onto the portal. Nowhere in the world, I think, there's 100 million people on the health portal ever happened. So you need 100 million people, and to put 100 million people in a short period of time is a huge, huge task. You should know how to design it, how to use the building blocks, and how to make it work, because not only should you issue the policy and put them onto your portal, you've got to make sure that they can use it to go to the hospital elsewhere, get the health records, create an e-health records, make it available to them on the mobile phone, on the feature phone, and make sure that everything is available to them and create a channel. Now, the design issue in this whole thing is humongous, and I think Nandan has worked on that earlier, to do some design for something like this earlier, because when you look at what Nandan has done, Nandan has worked on health, on giving financing, and on education, and Aadhaar. So I think all these things in the social sector has been done by him in terms of a conceptual design. So getting him in will make it faster. Without the IT backbone, it's not going to work.
Let me also ask you, Mr. Pai, Nandan now is back at Infosys. It's no longer the case while he was working on Aadhaar or the GSTN. Is that likely to be a cause for concern? Could conflict of interest issues be raised if he were to be brought in to assist the government on this issue?
I don't think there'll be any conflict of interest because of one important thing. He's a non-executive director. And if there's going to be any tender, anything to be built, and I think they'll open a tender, they'll be done at arm's length. He's not going to be involved in choosing the partners or who is going to do it, right? He's only going to be involved in designing it or maybe doing it. Or maybe the government will use something like the GSTN network to build this. They may not even go in for tender if they want to do a thing, because going in for tender may take more time. Possibly they can use something like the GSTN network where something already exists, or the Aadhaar UIDI network to make it happen, or something else. So let's wait for him to come. I don't think there are going to be conflicts. If there are any issues, it will be handled well at arm's length. I don't think people have to unnecessarily pick on. Of course, the leftist malcontents in this country will pick on this because many people don't want the poor to benefit. We will learn to live with it.
I don't know what you consider Subramaniam Swamy, Mr. Pai, but he, of course, has been very vocal in his opposition to this issue, not the National Health Protection Scheme, but issues in the past pertaining to the GSTN as well as Aadhaar. But we leave it there, sir, because as I pointed out, we're still awaiting clarity on this issue. We're given to understand that only the first meeting has taken place. But many thanks for joining us with your first reactions on a CNBC TV 18 Newsbreak.